I affirm the resolution resolved. The U.S. federal government ought to pay reparations to African Americans. Let us start off with some definitions. The word reparation, compensation in money, material, labor, etc. The making of amends for wrongs or injury done. Also, the word ought implies should, and should implies the morality of a certain policy or a subject. My first contention of this debate is morality. Subpoint A, ought. The resolution states we ought to pay reparations, and I stated that ought implies should, and should implies the morality of the argument. The morality is obvious in this situation. We should definitely make at least an effort to help out the African Americans. The ethics of morality is simple. We committed a crime against the African Americans, and now we should give at least some kind of reparation towards them, also known as compensatory justice. Our motivation is purely being moral, and according to compensatory justice, it doesn't matter whether or not we get thanked. However, it matters that we act morally because we acted immorally earlier. My second contention for this debate is economic benefits / stimulus. Subpoint A, economic stimulus. And Stanford University states we gathered the top leading economists in the country. And the overall conclusion, if we distributed about $10 trillion, this assistance could immediately affect more than 50% of the current American economy, boosting it in such a way that America itself would repay half the deficit in about 15 years. Those payments could well constitute the stimulus that the U.S. economy needs to take it to the next century. To the economy, stimulus is stimulus as long as it's done right. Whether it is paid to a group of people based on where they live, their ethnicity, or their religion might matter to politics, but to the economy it doesn't matter, as long as the money is put to work through either consumption or investment. So this basically proves my point that although the deficit may be huge in the short term, we could halve the deficit back, making us able to do this in 15 years. The evidence proves if we can do this, we should do this, and it'll only take 3 decades to pay half the deficit back. And the African Americans will be happy, not to mention the government taking a huge burden off their shoulders by repaying the African Americans back. If that keeps up, in about 50 years, our country would even go out of debt, for it would pay all the money they owe to the other countries, making our national deficit zero. Subpoint B, socioeconomic status. According to the University of California, San Diego, the wealth of the United States was greatly enhanced by the exploitation of African American slave labor. According to this view, reparations would be valuable primarily as a way of correcting modern imbalances, so it is only right we pay them back. According to the University of California, Berkeley, over the past 3 decades, the socioeconomic status of African Americans has deteriorated by a very large increment. This is mostly due to slavery and the Jim Crow laws, for most African American citizens were deprived of rights, and the African American unemployment rate was about 70%. 70%. We can represent this problem as a metaphorical ditch America dug. Reparations would help these African Americans out of this metaphorical ditch and improve their socioeconomic status, and make it improve, not deteriorate. Not just because it's moral, but because their socioeconomic status is deteriorating, and America made it that way. Therefore, America should pay the reparations back. Thank you, judge and opponent, for presiding over this debate with me. Thank you.